for this programming assignment, we are going to do the optional problem set for lesson 1. So lesson 1 problem set optional. It's just going to give us a little bit more training in the skills we're learning. The first one here is pretty straightforward. You have this string with all these different characters in it, C, I, D, A, T, Y. Those are all characters. And we want it to print out Udacity. So we want to find out which one of these different expressions right here will print out Udacity. So for instance, this one right here will pull the letter from position 6, position 6. Just have to get the vocabulary right. Position 6 from the string S. So string S, position 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that pulls U. This one will pull position 2 from the right. 1, 2. That pulls D. And this one will pull from 7 to 11, not including 11. So if that was 6, this is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, not including 11. So we got CITY. So you got U from this. You got D from that. And you got CITY from this, so that spells Udacity. And you want to evaluate these to see which ones do that. The next example here is you wanted to find this in the string, like some sort of a marker. So in this case, the marker is AFK. And here's a string, and we're going to find AFK in that string. And wherever we find AFK, we're going to replace it with away from keyboard, AFK, away from keyboard, right? AFK. So we're just searching for some sort of a marker and then going to replace it with the replacement. And that would be like, you know, something you might do if you had some, I don't know, some program where you didn't want to type out the same thing that's really long over and over and over. You could just type in a shortcut and then the computer would automatically replace it for you. So the first thing we need to do is we need to find, my idea is to find, to pull this string out, and then to put this one in the middle. That was my idea for solving this. And so to do that, I found, well, this string goes from 0 all the way up to right about there. So, you know, wherever this one starts, that's where this one ends. Wherever AFK starts, that's where this one ends. So before the marker, right, here's the marker. Before the marker, give me all the characters from line. Give me all the characters from line from 0 all the way up to finding this marker. Remember, on the right side here, it doesn't include the character. So here, right here, when we said 11, we went 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it didn't include the D, but it included all that. For whatever reason, that's the way it works. You just kind of take it on, okay, that's the way it works. That's the way you take this stuff sometimes with programming. And so that gives me this first part right there, right? That's before the marker. After the marker, I'm going to go from line, I'm going to go from the marker, right, which will be right here. Finding this marker will take me right to that character, plus the length of the marker. So length, marker, length, parentheses, marker gives me the marker. So it'll give me this one plus 3, because the marker's length is 3. So 1, 2, 3 will take me to right there. And then give me basically everything, you know, this says give me everything from that position right here, from that position right there, all the way to the end, right? That's with just the colon with nothing else after it. And again, we're just using the same notation right here. Give me from 7 to 11, right? 7 to 11. Here I'm saying give me from whatever this evaluates to. It's going to evaluate to some number, because it'll be all of this stuff, plus the length of this, right, which will take me to right there, and then colon, and that means give me to the end. So it'll give me that. So now I have this string, and I have this string, right? I've pulled those substrings out. So I can say the replace string is, you know, that text before the marker, everything on before the marker, and then the replacement, right, away from the keyboard. Like this is concatenation. Just take strings, you know, and add them together, and then everything after the marker, and then I print the replaced. And so when I run that, it gives me this. That's how you do that one. So here's another one where you're using more of that Bacchus Nor form where you sort of evaluate stuff. So rewatch those videos if you need that explained again. And then here's another one that's pretty straightforward. And again, you're just kind of using replacement. And write these out with a pen and piece of paper. That could be helpful. And then here's another one where you got to evaluate if these are doing math correctly, giving you the correct answer. Like I did not check this one because 10 divided by 4 would give me 2.5, right? 2.5 times 4 would give me 10. But when this gets run, it doesn't give you 2.5 because you don't have a decimal. This one does give you 2.5 because you have the decimal. So when you include a .0, it'll evaluate your result, return your result as a decimal. When you do not include a decimal in the arithmetic, it doesn't in the division, it doesn't return a decimal. So this is called integer division. It just returns the integer, no decimal. This is called float, right? Float means we're floating characters off to the right, and that means we're returning decimals. So when you have a decimal in your expression, it returns a decimal. When you don't have a decimal in your expression, it doesn't return a decimal. And here's the last one. And the last one is to find out if something is a palindrome. If you take this little function right there, that will flip the word around. So let me show you that, because that's just something to learn. Boom, 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 boom. So if word equal cowboy, and I'll use single quotes. I like single quotes. Word equal cowboy. And I just store that into memory. And now I take that and I flip it around, and then I'm also going to print it. Right? It flipped that word around. And you might be like, how the heck does it do that? I don't know. That's just, again, one of those things you're like, oh, that's a cool trick. All right, I'll file that away and keep it in my notes. If I ever need to flip a word around and go look that up, and I'll be able to do it. Or I'll Google it and I'll be familiar with it. So I flip that around, right? And here you're basically saying, take the word here, flip it around, and then in this string, find that flipped around word. And so if we're able to find the flipped around word, then this is equal to that. And when you are able to find something, it returns 0, right? So right here, I found it, returns 0. So I flip this around, it's the exact same thing, and I can find it. However, if I change it, and I add an in there, and I run it, it flips it around, and now, you know, word Madden is not going to work equal NADAM, right? Those aren't going to, you're not going to find in the string Madden, you're not going to find dadam, nadam, maddam, right? You're not going to find it. So it returns -1. So that's problem set number 1. You're getting good. You're figuring some stuff out, and you're starting to see that programming is not only about like understanding how do you type out the right syntax, right? And figuring out these new little things for talking with the computer, but also using the logic to solve the problem. So it's a problem solving process. And then, you know, again, we're kind of learning the skill. It's kind of like learning the chords on a guitar. And, you know, at first it's kind of like, wow, you know, this is a little bit challenging. But then once you get all the chords down and you know, you get comfortable with the basics, then you really get to start to create music. And that's the fun part, because you get to sit around the campfire with all your friends and play songs. Or you get to create amazing new applications to share with your friends. So some cool stuff. All right, turn this in for this programming homework assignment. Turn all this blue.